There's a good and a bad side here. And this is stuff that's happened over the last 4 or 5 months. So these are not, if you're very online, you have probably seen these stories. If you're not very online, then you might not have seen them. I'm going to start with kind of what I would call a social media disaster. Now, I had mentioned before, and I don't know if you've seen it or not, my wife and I are expecting our first child in like 7 weeks. So we are knee deep in baby content on social media, especially she is. And then she sends it to me. So the algorithms hit me with it, whatever. Well, there is a company called Kite Baby. I'd never heard of it. And they really, really fumbled the ball as it pertains to social media. And I've got this is like a little clip that's a news story that breaks down the whole entire situation. I'm going to let this roll, and then I'm going to go ahead and talk about it.
That's Marissa Hughes, who took to social media Friday to thank supporters after they learned that she was out of a job at clothing brand Kite Baby. Hughes' family said she was fired after not returning from maternity leave in order to care for her newly adopted son. He was premature, weighed 1 pound, and in a NICU 9 hours from their Dallas home. According to Kite Baby's policy, an employee like Hughes, who had been with the company for at least 6 months, is allowed 2 weeks of paid leave. But when that time was up, Hughes' request to work remotely from the NICU was denied. When Hughes' story went viral, the backlash against the company was swift.
I will no longer be supporting the brand as both a creator and a consumer.
I wanted to hop on here to sincerely apologize to Marissa for how her parental leave was communicated.
Kite Baby CEO Ying Liu posted not 1, but 2 apology videos after her first attempt was widely panned as insincere.
I basically read it. It wasn't sincere. Sincerely, what went wrong was how we treated Marissa.
In that second apology, Liu went on to say Kite Baby will continue to pay Hughes and offered her a position with the company, in addition to announcing policy changes they hope to enact by February 1st.
We don't think it would be appropriate for me to go back.
So that story, that's kind of a quick snippet of it. But basically, it calls into play, you talk about virality, the potential for things to go viral. And a company like Kite Baby, again, I don't know hardly anything about this company except for the fact that it's a company that's targeting young, infant mothers of infants, right? That's who they're targeting. So when that company comes out and basically takes a hardline stance against one of their own employees, back in the day, that didn't necessarily mean anything. But in 2024, that can come back to bite you in the ass big time. So social media it's a double-edged sword. So anything that you do, you have to understand it can be turned into a viral moment for either good or for bad as a company. And again, this wasn't a company that was putting out a piece of content. This was their internal policy. This was something that happened in the company internally. And they basically said, yeah, we're not going to let you, work from home. I think the gal she wanted to work remote while her adopted baby was in the NICU. That was the long and short of it. And they said, no, you can't do that. You're fired. You either come to work or you're fired. Now, again, I got to take my personal side out of it because I can't imagine, good people are so hard to find. I can't imagine being that hard lined against an employee, especially one that was, dealing with an infant in the NICU, which is stressful enough. I can't even, especially as somebody who is getting ready to have a child and just, hoping and praying and doing everything we can to have everything go smoothly, everything we can on our end, things are just not going to happen on the other side. So if you own a business or a company, understand that if you make a misstep like this, there is no guarantee that is not going to get out. And that to me is kind of the good side of social media. It's the fact that people are like, yeah, we have a voice now, right? So it's a little scary. It's a little Big Brother-like. I understand that, but it is what it is. And I feel like a lot of people are still not grasping the fact that everything that you do or say, you almost need to be comfortable with it being shared with the world. And especially if you're a company, your actions, if you treat your employees or treat your staff horribly, or if you treat your customers horribly, you're really playing Russian roulette, because at any moment that can come back and completely destroy you as a company. Now, on the flip side of this is a story, I think this was back in November. So this story is a little bit old. If you're very online, you've probably already seen it. But I'm going to go ahead and share this. This is a guy named Ashwin. He absolutely crushes it on TikTok. He does a lot of content on marketing and advertising and branding, things like that. This guy is he's brilliant beyond belief. I would say definitely follow him if you don't. But I am going to go ahead and play this clip, and then I'm going to talk about this just in stark contrast to the Kite Baby story that we just heard about.
If you work in marketing or social media, you're going to love what Stanley's doing here. A woman posted this TikTok yesterday showing the remnants of her car, which was on fire.
Everybody's so concerned about if the Stanley spills. But what about the milk? It was on a fire yesterday. It still has ice in it.
That video is at 30 million views right now. There is not a stronger endorsement that you could get for the Stanley mug. So instantly I'm thinking, okay, Stanley needs to get involved here. And less than a day later, Stanley responds.
But there's one more thing. We've never done this before, and we'll probably never do it again, but we'd love to replace your vehicle.
And that is the perfect response. President of Stanley gets on TikTok, says, I'm so sorry what you've gone through. We're going to send you Stanley, but we're also going to send you a new car. Stanley's going to spend maybe $30,000, $40,000 for a car, which they've probably already made up in sales from the original video. But just from the sheer exposure that they get, this video is already at 8 million views within a day. And the insane goodwill that they're building, it is just excellent execution. And honestly, if I'm Kia, I'm getting in here. I'm trying to get her a new car. Or if I'm Ford, built Ford tough, I'm trying to do a little partnership with Stanley, built to last. This is how brands need to be using social.
So I absolutely love the contrast of virality going incredibly wrong and virality going incredibly right. Because again, you can't count on virality happening. You can try, again, follow best practices, put out good content, et cetera, et cetera. But more often than not, things go viral just on a whim, by chance. So you can't really count on that. But what you can do is say, okay, I'm gonna treat people well. You know what I'm saying? Keep the receipt. Be a good person to your staff and to your customers, and understand that eventually will end up paying off in the long run. And you should be doing it anyway. You should be treating people well just because it's the right thing to do. But if you need to know, hey, look, at any moment, your behavior can be put under a magnifying glass and shown to the entire world. Okay. So I hope you don't need the idea that the entire world can be looking at you under a microscope in order for you to do the right thing. But if you do, that's a pretty good reason to try to do the right thing, because at any moment, the entire world can be looking at you under that microscope. You know what I mean? So you can't really aim for virality, but on the content side of things, if you continue to put out consistently getting better content that is true to you, that's true to your values, true to your company's values, then on the off chance that something does go viral, it's only going to help you. And the positivity is just going to spin. And also, the guy from Stanley, the CEO of Stanley, or I don't know exactly what his role was, but how about that? I mean, they turned that around from the time that woman posted the original video of her car being on fire and the Stanley surviving it. They turned that around in a matter of a day. So be aware, pay attention to what's going on in the world, especially when it comes to social media stuff, and figure out how you can capitalize on it as a business owner. Keep your eyes and ears open, because you never know when an opportunity for you to do something that is not only beneficial to people, but will also help your brand or your company look great.